followed by a mix of clouds and sun in the afternoon, and a high of 62. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. So, the House Minority Leader, his name is Hakeem Jeffries. He's not really cut out for that gig, but he's making his best effort to stick to the script. He was on with CNBC over the weekend, Joe Kernan, and had this to say about the government shutdown as it moves into its third week this week.
Government open and then going into the normal appropriations process. I mean, there was an election, and the Republicans were put in a position where they were able to pass the big, beautiful bill, or you call it the big, ugly bill, to then say, we don't like any of that, so we're going to shut down the government until you take back all the things that you duly passed through legislation. If Republicans had tried to do that to the Inflation Reduction Act or the any of the acts that Biden and that administration have passed, if they said we're going to shut down the government because we don't like any of those things you did, we're going to not pay our military, we're going to, not allow the government to reopen until you do what we want. After an election where the American people put Democrats in power, you'd be going crazy. You'd be going crazy about using a shutdown of the government with a continuing resolution to get what you want just because you don't like what the Republicans did. It's not how it works. It's bad. It's bad precedent, and it's just clear. And you're talking about the House. You've already passed this. The Senate is who we're talking about, and they have a bill which will reopen the government right now with 5 more Democrats.
What is bad precedent is the Republican refusal to engage in bipartisan negotiations. What is bad precedent is the Republicans embarking on a my way or the highway approach from the very beginning of this Congress. Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Joe, you're exactly right. So if the government shuts down, they've made the decision to shut the government down. And they can reopen it right now if they chose to with a rule change in the Senate. But I just explained it. The reality is they want to keep the government closed. Cruelty from the very beginning of this administration has been the point.
Yeah, and if you were unclear about the talking point, that it gets repeated over and over again across all these cable news shows and networks, of course. This is Scott Jennings on CNN with fungible Washington State neo-Marxist Mary Strickland. Same topic, same canned response.
And this is unfortunate because the Republicans control the House, the Republicans control the Senate, the Republicans control the White House. So any shutdown that we have is 100% on them. They fully own this.
Who's voting against the continuing resolution in the Senate right now? Which party is voting against it?
So there may be a party voting against it.
Which party?
But if you want to,
if
you want to get someone to come in your direction, you offer you offer an olive branch and say, here's what we can do together. There's no desire to do that on the part of the Republicans who have the majority. Well, so that's what's happening right now, Scott.
So basically, she won't say it. The Democratic Party is refusing to vote for a continuing resolution in the Senate that they voted for 13 times when Joe Biden was the president. You asked how long this is going to go on. You go on CNN.com right now and you can read an article where a Democratic advisor said, quote, this will keep going until planes start falling out of the sky. That is the kind of political party we're dealing with.
Let me just read.
That's exactly what was said, and that was CNN's reporting about as to this unnamed Democrat aide. But that's basically what you get. That's basically what you're going to get, and you're just going to get that rinse and repeated. But in the grand scheme of things, does it matter that much? And should we be worried about its alleged impact on GDP? Should we be worried about the GDP number any more than we worry about the jobs numbers? given our understanding of their accuracy. For more on this, please be joined by Scott the Cow Guy Shellady. There it is. Market specialist for Market Day Report, 10:30 to 1. He's also the host of the Cow Guy Close from 1 to 1:30, both at RFD-TV. Scott the Cow Guy, thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
So the government shutdown, is that sort of built into the price on Wall Street, regardless of how long this extends?
Yeah, I mean, Wall Street's seeing through it. I mean, the last one in the 2018-19 was 35 days. We're on the 14th, so we could double this and still not be the longest. But it's childish, it's infantile, it's ridiculous, and I'm over it. I'm angry. I don't know who I'm angrier more at, China or the Democrats, but I tell you what, if I was Trump and I had the opportunity to trim government right now, I would absolutely 100% slash and burn. He should take advantage of the opportunity he's got in front of him. Yeah, it might hurt GDP a little bit, but you know what? The only reason we had a positive GDP the last 4 years is because we dumped $8 to $9 trillion into the economy. We basically bought ourselves a positive GDP. So when we take money out of the system, we slash and burn jobs. Yeah, you're going to have your economy shrink a little bit, but it's an opportunity because our debts and deficits are almost to the point where we're choking to death. So I would take the opportunity if I was him. Let them throw all their toys out of the pram. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's such a bad look, but they don't care. This is what we're dealing with. They just don't care, and they're really part of it's waiting for this No Kings March this weekend. So they've got, they can't afford to make that base unhappy. So they're going to at least extend it to this, whatever they call it, over the weekend when they're going to be marching on the mall, and then maybe after that we get something done. But I mean, that's
sure, you don't want to.
They're held hostage.
Yeah, you don't want to dampen the enthusiasm among the temper tantrum set, right?
I mean, just look at the people in the crowd. It's like a bunch of highlighter pens walking down the mall. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and septuagenarian and octogenarian highlighter pens too, which is even a worse look.
Right, and my underwear would be tight on everybody in the crowd.
They're all those Department of Ag programs it's good stuff there. It's very filling. Okay, all right. There's a line or two. You've been practicing. You had those ready to go. Come on, that's not.
I did not.
That's not off the cuff. You're
No, it was off the cuff.
All right, it's very good.
Well, I've been talking about it for 5 to 8 days. So, yeah, that's off the cuff.
Well, yeah, talking about it is what exacerbates it even more because it's just so straightforward. And what can you say? So, I mean, this is what it is. And if people want to, continue this standoff, then they're going to. And at some point, somebody's going to say, well, it's hurting us more than it's helping us. And there'll be a relenting.
Yeah, but then we have November 21st when it all happens again.
Yeah, sure. Well, again, you have to give people, the bread and circuses, right? That's what they like about politics. What do you want to have a substantive conversation about Medicare reform? I mean, come on.
No, I want people to be normal, but they're not normal. They aren't normal. I mean, look, this is what you get when their only thing they have is they hate Trump, and it's been pretty hard lately. How do they celebrate Hitler saving the Jews? I mean, I don't get it.
Right. You mentioned you don't know if you're more upset with Congress or the Chinese communists. In some cases, there's not much difference between the rank and file. The Chinese government vowing to retaliate against the U.S. if Trump doesn't walk away from his threat of imposing 100% tariffs on Chinese imports due to Beijing's newly introduced restrictions on rare earth exports. So the back and forth, the gamesmanship, the brinkmanship, perhaps, if you want to put a more negative light on it, continues with the Chinese Communist Party. The market didn't like it on Friday and sort of got its wits about it yesterday. So what's the net?
Well, here's the deal. We have to get over the fact that we think that they're going to be our friends. The U.S. is like a St. Bernard puppy dog. We think everybody likes us, and we're so big and so strong. Well, you know what? This whole time we've been holding hands with China to keep the lines of communication open, and we've been visiting them in different cities across the country, across the world, for the last 6 months while these tariff talks have been going on. But in the meantime, 3 Chinese students at the University of Michigan were caught coming into the country with biohazards that could kill our wheat and corn crops. about 4 or 5 weeks ago, the last time we sat down with them. While we were sitting down with them, they moved all their sorghum business from the U.S. to South America. They don't like us. They're not going to give us another dollar of their money if they don't have to. So we have to take them out of this. I'm sick and tired of pandering. We have got to get rid of them. I mean, the problem is that we have a lot of farmers that have really been, relying on. That's a big customer of the U.S. And we probably got a little bit too comfortable with China being a big customer. They've been investing in South America for the last 10 years. They are going to move all their soybean business down there if they haven't already. We're going to take a little bit of a hit from that. So we have to find places to move our soybeans. But we need to face facts that China is not our friend. They are absolutely our enemy. And I have friends, in Chicago that work in some of those mills around, Gary, Indiana, and the like for, say, U.S. Steel. Yeah. And I hate the fact that when they'll whine and moan and bitch about China flooding the market with steel and making prices go lower, and they're losing their jobs. But when they get done bitching at me about it, then they get in their car and they go to Walmart on the way home. I don't understand it. I mean, you can't bitch about the beast. You can't bitch about the beast and go feed the beast at the same time.
Well, people wanting it both ways, right? I mean, I want, my job and my salary protected, and I also want the purchasing power that comes from more open market-oriented competition, right? I mean, that's not unusual. But, I mean, when you say we need to recognize they're not our friends and act accordingly, I mean, every industrial sector isn't going to move in unison or can. So what does that mean in terms of policy making? I mean, there's the, sort of rhetorical sending a signal from the political decision makers, the policy makers. But in terms of the actual policy, what should the approach be then to indicate that we know you're not our friend, we know you're not going to be our friend, and so we're acting accordingly?
Well, it's going to be very difficult, because there's so many things. We're so intertwined with them because we are the two biggest economies. I mean, there's stock market, there's stocks and stock market things that are going to be coming into consideration there. I think that I trust the Trump administration to. Besson said yesterday they're going to do another Operation Warp Speed on these rare earths. That's the first thing I would, be behind. We have to make sure that we can decouple from China because they're just not going to play by the rules. And I'll tell you, this is what I think about China. For the last 2,000 years, if you've got a country with that big of a landmass and you've got more people than anybody else on the planet and more natural resources than any other place on the planet, generally speaking, you become the king of the planet. Okay, that's what normal countries do, but they have never ever been able to get their together. It's because they're a communist country, right? And as long as they stay communist, which is good, I'm happy that they're communist. They'll never ever get their act together. So the idea that they're going to be some sort of world power and to take over from the U.S. dollar. I mean, is anybody really going to change their dollars in the Chinese yuan? Really? No. And you know what? The BRICS. Look what they just did to their friends in the BRICS by saying that they're going to what they're going to do with rare earths across the world, even to their friends, India, Brazil. So these people have shown their true colors. I'm sick and tired of pandering. We should take measures, like I said, to decouple as much as we can. There's another word for it. I can't remember right now, and I understand that you're not going to be able to 100% decouple, but we need to mitigate our risk with them as much as possible because they have a 100-year plan. We have like a 100-day plan. And they want to take over, and that's absolutely what they're trying to do. But we can stop it because they're communist, and they ultimately will fold in on themselves. But in the meantime, it's going to take a flesh, a big piece of our flesh to have it happen.
Sort of investotainer par excellence, Aaron Ross Sorkin had this bold prediction on CNBC yesterday that there's a crash coming. He just doesn't know when it will be. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. That is very helpful. What are you in the camp that is basically bullish through the end of the year and then let's see where we stand, or what do you think in terms of the underlying dynamism of the American economy and in particular those tech companies and AI companies that are propping it up?
Well, if you would have been alive for the last 100 years and bought the high of the market right before every crash since 1929, you'd be a billionaire. So yeah, we could crash. We could go down 10, 15%. So what? Buy more. We've got a vibrant American economy. What Trump's done with that one big beautiful bill, we haven't really seen a lot of that stuff come into fruition. That'll happen in 2026. I'm telling you, I'm very excited about artificial intelligence. It's is transformational. It's going to make a huge difference in the way we live our lives. Now, there's going to be some collateral damage. I do believe that the talk about jobs not being lost is not true. I think there's going to be a lot of jobs lost because of artificial intelligence. That's called productivity. But I'm bullish on the U.S. economy. Yeah, we could be overheated at times. And, look, go back to what the Dow Jones looked like in the 1900s, early 1900s. It was way over-dominated by railroads, right? We get through this stuff. It'll happen. Yeah, we have a crash. So what, Andrew? Buy more. I mean, at the end of the day, look at the stock market. From 1929, it goes from the lower left to the upper right. This economy is expanding. As long as our population is expanding, we still have great innovation here in this country. It'll be okay. Setbacks are all right. Stocks are allowed to go down. It gives everybody that's got the time in their portfolio. I mean, if you're 75, it's a different story. If you've got time, it's an opportunity.
Scott the Cow Guy Shellady, market specialist for Market Day Report, 10:30 to 1 p.m., and host of the Cow Guy Close, 1 to 1:30, both at RFD-TV. Scott the Cow Guy, thanks as always.
All right, brother. Have a good day.
You too. And Scott the Cow Guy joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
When it comes to industrial coating and finishing, cutting corners isn't an option. That's why leading manufacturers across the Midwest